Hello class, welcome to lesson 10.6, which is all about special right triangles. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to find missing measures in 45 degree, 45 degree, 90 degree triangles. And you should be able to find missing measures in 30 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree triangles. Okay, so first let's focus on what a 45, 45, 90 triangle looks like. If you have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, that automatically makes it an isosceles triangle, okay? So that means that your two legs are going to be the same distance, okay? So those are both labeled in this picture as being A, okay? The hypotenuse of a 45 degree, 45 degree, 90 degree triangle is classified by being A times the square root of 2. A square root of 2. So if you want to try this out with different numbers, go for it. So you can try like plugging in, if I have a 1 here and I plug a 1 in, is that true? You can try it with a 2 if you want to. Or I know some of you are just kind of at the point where you trust me and you're going to go with it. So the hypotenuse equals the leg times the square root of 2. Make sure you memorize that. So the hypotenuse equals the length of the leg times the square root of 2. So if I ask you in these first couple examples to find the measure of each hypotenuse, and you see, okay, it's a 45, 45, 90 triangle, and I have a leg, I know my hypotenuse, the hypotenuse equals the leg times the square root of 2. So my hypotenuse here is x equals the leg, which is 11, times the square root of 2. That's all you have to do for this problem. You say x equals 11 times the square root of 2. Done. Okay? I don't need you to do anything else with that. And then if you look over here, we have another 45, 45, 90. And we have the leg is 8 centimeters. We want the hypotenuse. So we say x equals 8 times the square root of 2. This is something that's going to come back very heavy in geometry and algebra 2. So you want to make sure that you memorize these now so that way it's less to learn later. Okay? Why don't you go ahead and see if you can find the length of the hypotenuse of this 45, 45, 90. Hopefully you said it was 7 times the square root of 2 millimeters. If you have questions, be sure to ask for some help or go back and watch the last example again. Alright, so that's a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Now let's talk about a 30, 60, 90 triangle. In a 30, 60, 90 triangle, you have 3 different lengths for the legs. So you have a scalene triangle. And your shortest side of the triangle is going to just be called A. Okay, so your shorter leg can just be A. The longer leg is A times the square root of 3. If you're worried about confusing the 45, 45, 90 and the 30, 60, 90, because the 45, 45, 90 has the square root of 2, and you're worried you'll confuse square root of 2 and square root of 3, one way to remember is when you have 45, 45, 90, there's only 2 different numbers, right? There's a 45 and a 90. So that's when you have your square root of 2. When you have a 30, 60, 90, you have 1, 2, 3 different numbers. So that is when you take the square root of 3. Okay? So your longer side of a 30, 60, 90 is the shorter side, or A, times the square root of 3. And your hypotenuse is 2 times your shorter leg. Okay? So, again, these are very important things for you to write down and memorize. But let's try applying it. If we have triangle RST is a 30, 60, 90 degree triangle, find the exact length of the missing measures. So in this one, we have our hypotenuse, which we know our hypotenuse equals 2 times our shorter leg. So here we know our hypotenuse is 6, and we want to find our shorter leg, which in this example we are calling x. So in order to find that, I can tee it up, divide both sides by 2, so I know my shorter side equals 3 meters. Then if I want to find the longer leg equals the shorter leg times the square root of 3. So my longer leg is y, my shorter leg is 3, and I want to multiply that by the square root of 3. So my lengths would be 3 square root of 3 meters for my long leg. That's all I have to do for those problems. Why don't you go ahead and try to solve for this 30, 60, 90 triangle. Hopefully you saw that our hypotenuse is always going to be 2 times our shorter leg, so you ended up with 10. And then our longer leg is the shorter side times the square root of 3. So you should have ended up with letter D, or x equals 10, y equals 5 square root of 3. All right, in our last example, we have a word problem. We're talking about a gate that has a metal diagonal bar that forms a 30-degree angle with the bottom edge of the frame. So we have a 30-degree angle with the bottom edge of the frame. And the height of the gate is 2 feet. We want to find y, the length of the gate. So we know we have our shorter side, our shorter leg, and we want our longer leg. So our longer leg equals our shorter leg times the square root of 3. And if we calculate that out, 2 square root of 3 is about 3.46410. And if I go back to my directions, it tells me it wants me to round to the nearest tenth. So I know the length equals 3.5 feet. Okay? In some word problems, they'll give you a 30, 60, 90. In other word problems, they'll give you a 45, 45, 90. So make sure you use the correct formula, okay? Why don't you go ahead and try solving this one on your own? Hopefully you said the length of the diagonal bar is 2 times the square root of 2. If you have any questions about this problem or anything else from the lesson, please be sure to reach out for some help. And I hope you guys have a great day.